Welcome into Sportsmemo's betting podcast for May 7th. It's Tuesday. It's $2 Tuesday at sportsmemo.com, and the $2 handicapper is Nick Borrman, and he is the guest on the podcast today. You can get his 5% Champions League top total for just $2, normally $30 at sportsmemo.com. Great day to check out the website. Nick, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Drew, I'm doing well. Happy to be here. We usually normally sit down on Wednesday, so good to catch up with you a day early this week.
Yeah, day early. It's $2 Tuesday, so it's a lot going on, and Nick is 158, 116. That's 58% lifetime on his soccer totals in the $2 play. Is a total. It's going off tomorrow, Wednesday. So it's in the Champions League, a big game on TV. So check it out at sportsmemo.com. Normally $30, just $2 today. But Nick, let's break down some soccer, try to get the listeners on some winning sides here. We got some action actually on Tuesday in the Champions League. Barcelona at Liverpool. This game a pick'em here, total of 2.75. How are you viewing this one?
Yeah, so Leg 2, semifinal of the Champions League here, so obviously big game. Barcelona, they lead 3-0 after the first game, which the scoreline very unindicative of how that game went. Messi in the second half ended up scoring 2 goals, which one of those was his 600th career goal right after Ronaldo did it, of course. But honestly, Barcelona took a 1-0 lead into halftime. I was on Barcelona last week for subscribers, and obviously happy that they won the game. But when that second half started, Liverpool came out and they were really playing well. They were dominating possession. They were getting chance after chance after chance, and I was just watching the game going, okay, when are they going to score? And one mistake happened, and they turned the ball over deep in their zone. Luis Suarez turned the ball around, took a great shot, hit off the post, rebound fell to Messi, and he put it in the net. 10 minutes later, a beautiful free kick from Messi was the second goal. I mean, it took a game that was really closely played between two very, very good teams and made it to the point where now the second leg, it's almost out of reach for Liverpool, which you hate to say isn't fair. I mean, but hey, that's the game. Bounces happen, mistakes happen. But it was very unfortunate to see that Liverpool fall this far behind. I mean, again, I wanted Barcelona to win. We were on the game, but of course, I want to see good soccer. I want to see competitive games between going into even the second leg. So it's a tough situation here for Liverpool. They're down, like I said, 0-3. So the away goal rules, we talked about this in pods before, Drew, where in these Champions League matches, they play 2 legs, one home and one away. And if the score ends up tied after the 2 legs, they use what's called the away goals rule, which is whoever scored the more goals on the road technically moves on. So in this situation, Barcelona scored 3 goals at home. Liverpool scored none. So if Barcelona scores just 1 single goal on the road, it's effectively like they've scored 2 more goals, which would be 5, and becomes pretty much impossible that Liverpool has any chance to move on here. So tough situation for Liverpool. Luckily, there's 2 different ways to bet it. You can bet Liverpool or Barcelona to advance, which I haven't even looked at the line because I'm sure you have to lay 10-1 on Barcelona to advance right now, and the long shot odds on Liverpool just aren't worth the money in my bet or in my book. So on this game, as you mentioned, to pick them, it's Barcelona doesn't have a lot of need to score. If they get 1 goal, it's pretty much over. So outside of that, it's Liverpool. They have to kind of come at Barcelona early. They have to come at them hot. They have to come out playing as well as they can. The problem is they have their star striker, Mo Salah, was injured over the weekend, got a head injury in their last game, and he's been ruled out. Another star forward, Roberto Firmino, is out for this game as well. So they got 2 of their top 3 guys on their attack missing for this match, which is obviously big loss for them. So they're the team that's desperate. They're the team that's going to take unnecessary chances, which they have to, but they're also missing 2 of their best players. It's not a good situation for Liverpool to move on, obviously, but just the way the scoreline is, there's no need for Barcelona to try to take risks in this game. So even if they're losing, or even if they're tied later in the game, they're going to sit back. They're going to play defense. They're going to try to keep possession. They're not going to press forward. They're not going to do anything stupid. So Liverpool's probably the way to play this one. I mean, even though they're missing two players, they're going to be the team that's pressing. They're going to be the team that's trying to score. So when you're late in the game like that, and it's a pick 'em price, there's no risk here. I mean, if Liverpool, if they end up drawing the game, you're a push on the bet, and I just don't see Barcelona pushing by any means to try to win this game. So I think Liverpool here is the way to play it. At home, they're just very, very tough to beat. They actually opened as a minus a half a goal favorite, but now with those two guys missing, it's been moved down to a pick 'em price. So, but I like that price here, Drew. I think Liverpool is the way I would look on this one. Of course, I don't see them advancing, but in this game, I think they can win this game.
Yeah, it's an interesting setup here. I mean, from a betting angle, as far as Champions League, the way it sets up 2 games, and then whoever kind of has the more goals, it moves on. That's how it goes, right, Nick?
Yep, exactly right. And like we said, if they're tied, you use the away goal rules. Whoever scored more on the road.
Okay, so it just makes for interesting betting angles. And just off the top of my head, I'm not going to pretend to beat the Champions League betting markets long term, but it would make me look towards the over 2.75, just because Liverpool's going to come out guns blazing. They got nothing to lose. I would think they're going to go all offense here, which would open it up on the other end for Barcelona to score on the other end. So I would see 3 goals being scored in this game, but what would be the reasoning that wouldn't happen?
Well, the reasoning would be Barcelona is a possession-based team, and they're on the opposite side of that. So they're not looking to score. They're looking to sit back, hold possession, keep Liverpool from. They have no reason to score. They can just sit back, keep the ball away from Liverpool, and then anytime that Liverpool does have the ball, cram in the midfield, cram in the defensive line, and just give Liverpool absolutely nothing. So you're right. And to obviously half the extent there, and then on the other side of it, it just depends kind of what happens first. It's who scores first and when does it happen. If Liverpool comes out and gets one early, all right, now you start to look at this a little differently. Okay, how long are we going to sit back and let Liverpool come at us before we have to turn around and have to score again? So it depends what happens. If Barcelona score early, it's probably a likely chance you see an under. If Liverpool score early, it's probably a likely chance you see an over. But I mean, obviously, none of it's going to be perfect world like that. So it's tough. But both teams have opposite agendas here in this game. But generally, over the course of 2 legs, leg ones are usually a little bit lower scoring. No need to take chances. You have another game to play versus leg 2 tend to be a little bit higher scoring. So you're on the right path there for sure.
And Nick, just to get down the rules here, because I know, or at least myself, and I'm guessing some other American bettors out there, with it only being a 2-game kind of winner advances here, what happens in the situation where Liverpool wins this game 3-0? How do they then decide who moves on?
They go to extra time. So there's 2 15-minute periods played, and it doesn't matter what happens in the first 15 minutes. There's always 2. It's kind of like 2 short halves. And if there's a winner, then obviously that team's going to move on. The away goals rule is still in effect. So if Barcelona happens to score one of the goals during that extra time, they've effectively scored 2 goals, and now it becomes really, really difficult for Liverpool to move on. If neither team scores and they're still drawn, then they go to penalty kicks, which doesn't happen a lot. I mean, honestly, when you look back at the history of the tournament, it doesn't happen a lot, but that's an incredible few minutes of football to watch when 2 of the best teams in the world come down to penalty kicks. But that's what'll happen if that does happen here today.
Man, it sounds fun. Like, as a fan, there's all these different rules, but like half of me thinks it's like silly, Like there's all these little rules that you got to keep up with in the Champions League.
I mean, this is like one of those things where it's been in practice so long. Traditional soccer fans and people that have been watching the game for years and years and years can't think of it any other way versus, somebody more that's coming into it newer, fresher eyes is like, why the hell do we do it like this? There's got to be a better way. And I'm on I tend to be more on that side. I mean, it just doesn't – the away goals rule one just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If you're tied 4-4 after 2 games and you ended up scoring more of your goals on the road than you did at home, like, why are you rewarded? Does it really matter? But hey, it is what it is, I guess. I mean, there has been talk to change it eventually, but who knows? Who knows if they'll ever get to that movement? Yeah,
no, it's fun, man. There's different rules to kind of follow along with. So hopefully it becomes an interesting game this afternoon. We got the tomorrow Champions League. Tottenham at Ajax. That's AJAX, silent J there. minus 0.25 at home, total of 2.75. In this one, Ajax leads just 1-0 after the first leg, so kind of a different tidbit there going at this from a betting angle. But how are you viewing this one, Nick?
Yeah, so those that have followed me, listened to the podcast, or been on follow me on Twitter know that I've been high on Ajax all year, really, and all tournament. Before the tournament began, we did a preview of the Champions League tournament, Drew, back in February, and at that time I gave out two futures. One was on Man United, and the other was on Barcelona. Unfortunately, last round they ended up getting paired against one another, so we were guaranteed one of those was losing. So at that time, I made one additional pick. It was 20-1 plus 2,000 on Ajax to win. So we're in great situation going into this game with Ajax leading and Barcelona leading. That if both win today and tomorrow, then the finals is we'll have some nice profit no matter what happens in that game. So obviously I have my rooting interest there, but I love Ajax. They are young, they are exciting. They're a team, if you follow soccer at all, that's known for having one of the better academies in all of soccer world. They raise players from within. Players from out of countries come to Ajax to get better. They're from 16 to 17 to 18 years old. Play with their lower teams, get first team reps at an early age. I mean, if you look at the roster in this team, you got guys 20 years old, 21 years old, 22 years old that are absolutely playing great. You got guys signed. The roster is going to be completely different next year. You already have players leaving for Barcelona next year. Almost all of the starting 11 right now is in talks to be gone for next year. And they're used to this. This happens to them quite frequently because they have such a good academy and they bring in players knowing that they're not going to be there for a short term, but they develop young, awesome talent. And that's what we're seeing. I mean, they play with excitement. They're not scared of anything. And they're fun to watch. And, they don't play – they tend to play more of a aggressive, push it forward, like you'd think younger kids that don't have the experience would play. Well, why sit back and play defense? Why wait to hit on the counterattack? Let's go forward. Let's push forward. Let's kick the ball as many times as we can at the goal. I mean, it's fun to watch them. I'm excited to see them doing well. And I think in this game – they're the team that's got the upper hand. Obviously, they're up 1-0, but that's not a big enough lead to kind of sit back. They have to continue to do what they've been doing to get them to this point. Tottenham, it has been injury riddled. They've been struggling recently. Harry Kane's out for the rest of the season, but that happened a few weeks ago. Luckily, they're getting Heung-min Son back for the. He missed last game due to their kind of go-to guy. Without Harry Kane in the lineup. So everyone's coming back for Tottenham, but they just have not been playing well. They haven't been able to generate much creativity over the last few weeks, and they look like they're just tiring them, whereas Ajax is guns blazing right now. You can get them on the money line, the three-way line, at about plus 115 right now. Their current Asian handicap line is minus a quarter of a goal, so you could take them either way. I like the plus 115 price because I think they'll come in and I think they'll win this game outright. I don't see them sitting back. I don't see them trying to protect that lead. I see them coming in here and trying to increase that lead and show that they're the team to beat going into the final. So I'm rooting for them, and I think that's the way to play this one.
All right, good breakdown there, Nick. And guys, sorry for the technical difficulties. I think we worked through that on how the feed is coming through. But we got the Wednesday MLS we're going to break down on the podcast going forward. And guys, make sure to check out sportsmemo.com for $2 Tuesday. Nick's 5% Champions League top total, and he's been good in totals, is normally $30 today only. It's discounted to just $2. So check out the site. $2 Tuesday is live with Nick Borrman. He's 158 and 116. That's 58% over the long term, over 250 releases lifetime at Sportsmemo with all of his soccer totals. He's been good in MLS totals as well. 13 and 7, 65% year to date so far. So let's talk some MLS here. Nick, we got Toronto at Atlanta, top of the card here, minus 0.75. The Atlanta United laying at home in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, a total of 3.
Yeah, Atlanta, we've talked about it a few weeks already this year, struggled to start the year, and they finally look like they're playing well. They went in and beat Kansas City 3-0 over the last weekend. They've now won 3 of their last 4 games. So They did make a lot of tactical changes to their to the way they were playing. They weren't pressing as high on the field like they were last year. And anytime you do that, it takes some time to kind of get used to that. So perhaps they're starting to get used to that and are adjusting finally. Ezekiel Barco has been playing great for them. He's a young player that was awesome against Kansas City and has really been playing great all year. But it's worth noting that I bring him up because he's going to be missing for this match. He's actually going to be away playing for Argentina's under-20 World Cup team. So he will not be in the game on tomorrow night. So that's one thing to note for Atlanta. Toronto, they earned a nice 2-0 win at Orlando, which we gave out last week as our free pick. So that was a nice win on Toronto. However, I was on the over in that game for our 5% top play. So unfortunately, that did not happen. We had over 3 in that game, and they only won 2-0. Big loss for them during that was, or before that, was Josie Altidore did not play. So without him in the lineup on the offensive side, they're still a good team. They still got plenty of guys that can score, but he's their main guy. And anytime they're missing him up front, they're going to struggle a little bit more to score offensively. And right now, it's uncertain whether he's going to play. Their manager, Greg Vanney, said that he's close to returning and could possibly be ready for this match, but they don't want to rush him. And it seems more likely that he'll be back Saturday when they play the Union, Philadelphia. So I guess, a lot of what I would do here depends on whether he's going to be playing or not. So we got to kind of wait for the lineups here. But I'm leaning on him probably being out for this match, just for the fact that, why get him back here midweek? And without Barco playing for Atlanta, I think, both sides are going to be missing a big offensive guy that, generates a lot of creativity for both teams. So Atlanta, they haven't had a single game go over 3 goals this year. So I think that factor as well. I like the under here. I think 3 goals is too many here, and I would play this under. I just don't see 4 goals coming in this one.
And guys, Nick has been great with his free plays. 4-0 free plays on a 4-0 run here. He's got the LA Galaxy at Columbus. Columbus minus 0.5 home favorites. Total of 2.75. If you want his full detailed analysis of his free play on a 4-0 run right now in his soccer free plays, check it out at sportsmemo.com on Nick's handicapper page. But Nick, did you want to throw out any quick thoughts on the podcast?
Yeah, the Galaxy catching a half a goal here is my official free play this week. I'm surprised to see it, to be honest. That's what I'll really say here. Columbus, they've lost 5 straight games and just cannot score the ball. And their defense is what has been their pedigree for the last few years. And they've given up 10 goals in their last 5 games. And, and if they've never been an offensive team, so I'm not surprised by the fact that they're not scoring right now. But the fact that they're giving up goals like that, they're in big trouble. And LA has been playing great. They did lose this past weekend at New York at the Red Bulls, but that was their first loss in 8 games. Their defense is much improved from last year. So I just, how do you side with a team that's lost 5s, not scoring, but yet they're giving up goals versus a team that's hot, is scoring goals, yet they're not conceding. I mean, everything indicates that the Galaxy is the play here. So I'm surprised to see this line. Maybe there's some bit of information I just don't have yet that this line makes sense to, but I think Galaxy plus a half a goal here is a no-brainer. So that's my official free play this week, Drew.
All right, we got 2 games left. Chicago at New England. New England minus 0.75 home favorites. Total of 2.75, Nick.
Yeah, as far as totals go, both teams have been trending to opposite directions. Chicago's played to 3 straight unders. New England has played to 3 straight overs. Chicago returns home here after a 3-game road trip in which they failed to score a single goal. But they only conceded 2 goals over those 3 games as well. Chicago has been better at home with 2 wins in their last 3 games. And they did score 4 goals in their last game against another weak defense in Colorado. These teams have been in the MLS for a long time, and New England has never fared well when traveling to Chicago. They're actually winless in their last 8 visits to Chicago, and they have just 1 win in their last 19 visits to the Windy City, dating back to 2006. So history is definitely not on their side for this one. The Revolution are also winless on the road this year with 3 losses and 2 draws, and they were embarrassed last weekend, losing 1-6 at Philly. I don't expect to see that scoreline here, but I do think we'll see Chicago probably win this game rather easily. They've been playing well on defense, and they've just and they just held arguably the best team in the league, the LAFC. They held them to a scoreless draw in LA last weekend. So it's a short turnaround here. So I'm going to give the advantage to the home side, and history's on our side here. So I like Chicago in this one, Drew.
All right, Nick. And last game up, Montreal at the New York Red Bulls. Red Bulls minus 0.75 home favorites, total of 2.5.
Yeah, New York looks to be coming around after a terrible start to the season. They've now won back-to-back games for the first time this year. They beat Cincinnati, and then they beat a good Galaxy team over this past weekend. Montreal, they played the other New York team, FC, over the weekend, losing 0-2 at home. And luckily, they don't have to travel too far in this game. However, when traveling to New York to play the Red Bulls, New York has 9 wins, while Montreal has 1 win in 10 total meetings between them. So another situation here where history's not on the visiting side. Montreal star Ignacio Piatti continues to be sidelined with injury, and it's hard to back them right now without their best playmaker in the lineup. Nobody's generating anything offensively, and they're not able to get any good chances on goal right now. Other than one game at New England where they managed 9 shots on goal, they've struggled on the road without their star, with 1 shot on goal at Philly, 1 shot on goal at DC, 1 shot on goal at New York, and 2 shots at Kansas City. And this past weekend, they didn't get a single shot on goal against New York, their second game against them. So you can see that they're struggling to get anything going offensively. And obviously, if you're not getting anything on goal, your chances of scoring a goal aren't very good. So have to ride with the hot hand here and take New York to continue their short. It's short. It's only 10-game history, but their home dominance over Montreal. And I think they'll try to make it 3 straight wins here for the first time this year. So I like the Red Bulls. You can get them at minus 3/4 of a goal, or at the price I last looked was about minus 130 on the 3-way line, which is not too steep of a price. So either way, it's safe to play them on this one.
Nick, great breakdown as always, Champions League and MLS. He's got his free play up at sportsmemo.com between the LA Galaxy at Columbus. Make sure to check that out. And it's $2 Tuesday. He's got his 5% Champions League top total. He's been great in totals, 58% lifetime on over 250 releases. It's discounted to just $2 today for $2 Tuesday. So check it out at sportsmemo.com. Guys, thanks for listening in. Best of luck with your bets. We'll be back tomorrow talking MLB and NBA playoffs.